went instantly like I kind of randomly found your show like through the algorithms, which is weird because I'm all into music and stuff, but your channel just popped up and I started watching and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
Nice.
You're totally into like music, I can see,
Mm-hmm.
in movies and murder.
Yep.
It's like the full like package, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my channel, originally was more, I mean, it's all about me. Like, not me, not me. I didn't mean it's not all about me. It's all about
Right.
what I like. So originally it was mostly about like the first like half a year was a lot of more movie based, but I mean, if really like when it comes down, music is my first love, and like if I could just
Cool.
go to filming locations of music videos for the rest of my YouTube career, I would and get huge views, I would love that because that's my favorite. Like music videos, like I grew up on them and stuff like that. But unfortunately, anytime I've gone to a music video location, the views go they don't
Oh,
do that.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, some of the Eminem ones and some Michael Jackson ones, big artists and hard to get to locations. But no, some of the other ones, no, like Beyonce, I've done a whole bunch. You name it, just any song I like. If I like a music video and try to go to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I saw that you did the Eminem Rock and Roll Hall of Fame episode. That was really cool.
yeah, that was wild. I got the call about that. I had I had a feeling I was going for a while because of my contact. So that works there. And then she said, don't worry, you're going. But I was like, well, okay. So I went on this big road trip, and then I was in down on the Gulf shores of Alabama, and she called me or whatever, texted me and said, so it's November 2nd, you gotta get out to LA. And I'm like, it's October 20th. I'm in Alabama. I gotta go home. So I had to drive like really fast, like not really. Like I spent about 4 or 5 days driving back home to Toronto just so I could settle in for a little bit. Then I had to fly right back, and it was pretty awesome. It was worth it.
Oh yeah, dude. Was that the first time you've been to a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Yeah,
event?
yeah, that's
That
definitely the first time.
those last like hours, don't they? I mean, that's a commitment when you go there, right?
It is. It started at I think 7. It ended about 1. It ended about
Whoa.
it ended about 1. But really, what you saw, like I mean, what I've watched, I've scanned through it, like the official HBO release since. I mean, they cut out a fair amount, but kind of felt like I was there again. Like it was really long. And I knew Eminem was going to be second last. I knew he was going to be near the end. But I mean, Duran, Lionel Richie,
Oh, cool.
there's some legends there that just Lionel Richie, to be honest. I mean, Eminem was a highlight for me. So was and Dolly Parton. But Lionel Richie blew the roof off the place. Like he just tore it up. Dave Grohl came out with him.
Whoa.
Everybody on their feet for like all night long and stuff like that. And what was the song he did with Dave Grohl? I
Yeah,
can't
what
remember.
was that?
I
Oh,
can't remember
okay.
what he did. You know what he did? He did oh, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
all good.
he also did "You Are," which is such an upbeat song, and it was a lot of fun being there.
Do
I
you
mean,
remember do you remember who brought out Lionel Richie? Usually they have, somebody that kind of
yeah,
speaks.
who brought out Lionel Richie? Robert Downey brought out Duran.
Oh, that's cool.
Dr. Dre brought out Eminem. Um, I can't remember. It's all a blur now. I recorded almost a whole show, so I should know who. No, Janet Jackson came out for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, which was awesome. But
Oh, wow.
there was this behind the scenes guy, a lawyer, a music industry lawyer, and whoever introduced him was an older guy in the music business. I don't think it was Jimmy Iovine. May have been Jimmy Iovine. May have introduced him. And then this guy's speech, he was about 78 or 80 years old. I can't remember who it was, but he
Uh-huh.
again brought the house down with his speech, man. He was
Oh
like
yeah.
on the ball. It was awesome.
So okay, real quick, if you could pick out a band to bring out to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, who would you? If they said, hey Scott, we want you to introduce this band, which band would you pick?
Well,
I'm throwing you on the spot, but
I mean, one that's already been inducted or one that's
it doesn't matter, whichever one you want to
there's
pick.
not. I mean, a lot of. I mean, U2, REM. They're my favorite bands, so
Oh, that's cool.
they've already
Yeah.
made it. Eminem. I think I would be. I do really well wearing my Eminem shirt over my Leaf shirt. I think I do well introducing Eminem, but I mean, Dr. Dre's already in. Oh, maybe Britney Spears.
Yeah.
I could. I could show I got this picture here of when I met her when I was a kid, well, teenager, when I was younger, right
Oh, that's
there.
cool.
So I could bring that up on stage with me and say, "Hey, Brittany, remember this?" She won't.
Man, I love the diversity you have. You know, we talk about Eminem and REM. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Have you always been that open to music growing up?
Yeah, oh, I think so. I mean, I grew up on like listening. My parents listened to '50s music and Elvis and stuff, and then they completely bypassed the '60s and '70s. Like it's like they never happened to them. Like when I was a kid, so I kind of got introduced. Then of course '70s disco I got introduced to through Grease and all that. But then the '80s, listening to a lot of my sister's stuff. But my parents listened to like on trips, country and this and that. So I started listening to everything, and then all of a sudden hip hop came onto the scene. It's like, oh, this is our music. You know what I mean? Like from my generation, as every generation has, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got really into rap and hip hop. But my favorite singer, my favorite musician of all time is George Michael,
Oh,
which
dude.
is
Yeah.
so different from REM and Eminem, and like really, and Nirvana, and Kurt's like I'm obsessed with Nirvana. So I guess I just always liked every genre. There's not one genre I don't like.
Oh man, that's so cool, man. You know, I've always felt like George Michael was underrated. Like not enough people
Yeah.
talk about him, you know?
Well, actually, he's number one in the ballot leading for this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. So
Oh yeah.
he's number one over and Cyndi Lauper's number two. So George is definitely getting in this year. So I guess if I could pick somebody that it'd be bittersweet because he's no longer with us. But there you go. There's your answer, George Michael. I would love to go out and so his voice and Elvis's voice are the first two voices I kind of remember as a kid growing up to, like Wham and stuff like that. And
Oh, that's cool.
I just remember hearing his voice, and I was like, "Damn, this guy can sing!" And then all of a sudden, Faith comes out, and Freedom '90 is just a guy. Then when I learned he's actually writing, producing, engineering, playing every instrument, I was like, "Okay, this,
Yeah, yeah.
this guy's good."
Did you grow up in Toronto? Is that what you said? Or
Yeah,
where did you grow up
yeah,
from?
right. Yeah, I grew up in Toronto. I grew up first I was downtown, then the suburbs, and then as a young adult, moved back downtown area, but now I'm back in the suburbs. I'm back. This is my childhood home.
That's your childhood home. Wow.
Yeah,
So your
yeah,
family still they've had the same house for all these years?
yeah. Well, my parents passed away a
Oh,
couple of years ago.
okay.
I inherited the house, so
Oh,
uh,
okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
oh, thank you. Yeah, so my sister and I totally we had because it was water damage stuff and older house, so we had to completely renovated and yeah, inside. So it looks the same
Mhm.
outside, but inside. Like if my parents were here, they'd walk in and wouldn't know they're in the same house. They'd be like, "What the hell did you do? What did you do?" But I think
Yeah.
we think they like it. We think they like it.
Oh, that's cool. So growing up, did you watch MTV? I mean, I don't know what kind of channels you had.
Where are you, by the way? Where are you?
I'm in Georgia,
You're in where in Georgia?
just about 45 minutes north of Atlanta.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
I know I've seen an episode where you were doing the REM thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm about
Mhm.
45 minutes north of where you were at that time.
North of
Uh,
Athens too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah, you're more
probably
right up
30
here.
minutes north. Yeah.
Yeah, I know where you are. So, they're actually 45 minutes, not too far from you is Mondo Video. I did a video from that guy's house. He
Oh,
has a video
cool.
store in his basement, a full working video store. And that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I've got another
Wow,
REM.
that's cool.
Yeah, I've got another REM one coming from Athens. Probably I'll put it up next week. It's a bucket list item that I always want to go to. But yeah, sort of now I forgot what you were asking. What
Well, I'm sorry, I'm getting off subject too, but did you go to Little Five Points when you were here in Atlanta? I mean, not in
no.
Athens, but Little Five Points is where REM like played a bunch back in the day.
Oh, really?
I think Michael Stifer, am I saying his last name right? He
Yes, thanks.
I want to say he was living around Little Five Points. That's a huge place in Atlanta. But
Oh,
anyway,
that's
I can
no, I don't think I've ever done any REM stuff in Atlanta. It's all been Athens, one club in Charlotte. Um, I mean, unfortunately, like REM, I'm gonna keep and even like you two. and even Eminem doesn't sometimes, they don't all get huge views, but that doesn't matter to me. Like it's still if it's something I want to see or want to go to, I'm gonna go to it. I'm gonna film it, right? And something I hope people will watch, but I
Definitely.
can't let that stop me from going to places. You know, I can't start thinking, well, this may not get big views. I don't work like that. I go to the places I think will be cool to see, and something that I have coming up about REM. I think people, when they see it, once they go, okay, well, it's an REM video. What is he talking about? And then when they see where I am and what I found, I think they might be really excited to see it.
Yeah,
But
dude.
you asked me about MTV. In Canada, we had Much Music, which debuted
Yep.
maybe a year after MTV. So it's like a 24-hour music station. Same
Hmm.
thing, same thing. And so we got all of our, it had to have, I think, 40% Canadian content, which is the same with the radios up here at the time, CanCon. So we get exposed to a lot of Canadian music and American music. And then MTV started here in the 90s. We
Oh,
knew about
okay.
MTV. We got all the MTV awards, like those aired on Much Music, but we
Right.
didn't get to see MTV unless we were in the States. And that was a big deal to see
Yeah.
MTV when we were on vacation states to watch it. But then MTV Canada started as competition to Much Music.
Much music. Yeah.
And it lasted a while. I'm friends with one of the original VJs because I auditioned. I wanted to be a VJ on
Oh, cool.
MTV so bad. Yeah, and then I auditioned again to be a VJ on Much Music on December 31st, 1999. I remember that day, and I did not get
Oh, you
it.
didn't? Yeah, yeah. How
No,
was the audition process? Right, like, can you
it
talk
was
about that?
it was crazy. It was a big deal. I mean, they were looking for a couple, and then I actually got a call back for it, and that was pretty. So, and I knew one of the casting directors really well, so I thought I would have it more in the bag than others, but I kind of froze on my second call back, and it's a difficult thing to do, to be, you know, at that time and that age, all of a sudden be, like, have 20 people staring at you, you're being recorded, be on
Yeah.
and be funny and be on and do this and do that. And I was like, oh man,
Oh, yeah, yeah, dude. Totally, man. I was doing the same thing. Man, that's so
yeah,
stressful.
it's very stressful. Yeah, but worked out. I mean, but Much Music is still going, but it's exactly like MTV in the States. No music, just
Oh,
TV.
so that Much Music, this reality show, like reality
Yeah,
shows.
Much
Yeah.
Music does. Oh yeah, it does all that, or airs Beavis and Butthead, and it's the same thing with
Right.
MTV. Yeah, they just air all the same stuff.
Also, you have a love for movies too, man, and I'm the same thing. I have a guest room that's just full of movie posters.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I love movies. So did you grow up just watching movies with the family, or like, I mean,
Yeah, well, more with my friends. I would watch movie. I I mean, we would watch movies as a family, like Grease, obviously,
oh yeah,
all
yep.
the Star Wars movies. But when I was a kid, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, my friend Adam and I, who his house is just 2 streets around the corner, we would watch the Friday the 13th movies because he had a VHS player and I didn't. My parents thought VCRs were a fad and they weren't going to last. We didn't get one until like 2 years after everybody else had one, maybe even more. They didn't believe that they were going to be a thing. And
That's interesting. Yeah,
it's so crazy. So we go watch all the Friday 13th movies at his house on, like, at 8 or 9 years old. And his mother was a British lady. She just come in the room. Oh, what do you? Oh my goodness. Oh, and just walk out. And we'd be like,
yeah,
oh yeah, damn Jason, like,
yeah.
going crazy. And then I worked at a video store for a long time, and I love movies. I love movies.
What's your favorite Jason movie? I mean, of all of them.
To be honest, part two and part four and part three, but part two I always say is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it probably is. Now that I've been to n- nine of the locations from the 12 movies, it's hard to watch them like I used to, because I'm so, like, because I had to watch them over and over again before I went to each location and
Oh
get
yeah, yeah,
shot.
yeah, yeah.
So I kind of got burnt out on them. But the reboot from 2009, I love the reboot. I think it's great. I think it's just it's a good way to start the franchise over, and now it's been 14 years, but hopefully a sequel's coming soon, they say. But yeah, I could back in the day, I could put on a Jason or Michael Myers, you know, anytime, except for part 4, 5, and 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6
Not so much.
of the Halloween movies. No, they kind of suck to
Okay.
me. To me, but some Halloween lovers love part 3, but I love 1, 2, and then H2O Resurrection and then the new ones were great.
I was huge into Nightmare on Elm Street. So did you like the Freddy versus Jason?
I did. I saw that. I think that no, I think that was the first one I saw in the theater.
Uh,
I think. I remember. I distinctly remember seeing it in the theater, and now I'm trying to remember. But I did like it, but I didn't like the way they made the way Jason's costume was. He kind of looked. They made him. They gave him like a dead eye and this weird like overcoat, and it didn't really fit the
right.
Jason look. I like the Jason with the torn sweater and all that stuff. But it was good. I'm not a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I like the first one, and I love the reboot, the one they
Oh
shot
yeah.
in Chicago like about 7, 8 years ago. I went
Hmm.
and did the locations for that, and I'm headed back to LA in a few weeks. And I'm going, and there's a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street fans that are going to be there, other YouTubers that are going to be there. I'm going to be filming with, and they all want to go see the spots. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll finally go and do them. I've done the house, which is really cool. Nancy's house, and then Johnny Depp's house across the street, which is great. But there's like the alleyway from the first one, and all the Venice shots. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like the first one. And then the rest I don't remember as much.
Yeah, it's hard for me to remember them too. I remember like 3, 4, and 5 because I was around 12 or 13 years old. I remember certain people like would make cameos in them, like Roseanne Barr was in one of them. It's a trip,
Was
man.
she really?
Yeah, she was in part Freddy's Dead, I think. I think that was
You think
maybe number
Freddy's Dead, the
5 or
Final Nightmare?
one of those. Yeah, I could be messing that up.
Well, I think
But
Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare is kind of like, I think it's called Final Nightmare or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, you're right. I think it's Final Nightmare. Yeah.
If Jason goes to hell the final Friday, that is like the worst of the worst. Like it is just pure garbage, that movie. And the way they shot it, like it's like a shot on a potato. And I think the same way about because I've seen all the Freddy movies. So I think the Freddy's Dead one, I felt the same kind of way.
Yeah.
Like it looked cheap, it looked quickly made, you
Yeah,
know.
rushed a little. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so talking about your channel, it was funny because I was telling somebody today about your show and talking to them. It sounds kind of depressing because I'm like, hey, it's like these sites where people are murdered and and funeral and not funeral, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
can you tell can you talk about your channel? Like what is your channel about?
Well, I mean, the name Scarlet on Tape doesn't really say what it is. So then I put in your pop culture tour guide to give it more of a because what I've always like I get a lot of people messaging me like, can you help me start my channel and can you give me tips and stuff
Mm,
like that? And which I always film with YouTuber. I'll film with anybody, smaller or bigger.
that's
And
awesome.
I love to film with people that are just starting out. And I always tell them the same thing. I'm like, whatever you do, don't do what I did, which is just start a channel with going to all these places that you want to go to, but they're all so different that the audience doesn't really come right away because they're like, "What is this channel? What? Okay, I subscribe because he went to all locations from Training Day. That's cool. Now all of a
Hmm.
sudden he's at Carol O'Connor, Archie Bunker's grave, or whatever. Like,
Right.
what is this channel? But it was all the things that interested me. So then I was like, okay, I gotta. Then when I started to get a little bit of movement with the Michael Jackson grave video, I was like, okay, I got to change the name of it because I had a different name for the channel. And then I put your pop culture tour guide. So basically, I even have a tough time still describing it to people when they say, "Oh, like what's your channel about?" If I tell them I do a YouTube channel for work, I'm like, "Well, it's me. I go to all sorts of strange and weird places having to do with pop culture across North America." And I guess that's the best way to put it. And the true crime that I do a lot of true crime. My next video is true crime coming out Saturday, and it has to be. I try to keep it true crime that's somewhat in become part of pop culture or people
Mm.
know about it really well. When I do obscure crimes, not so many. I still like to do it, but I think, well, does it really apply to my channel? But if I want to do it, like I film a lot when I go on these trips. So I've got maybe 5 or 6 true crimes that nobody would have ever heard of that I
Yeah.
filmed in their entirety, and I'll still put them up. But I try to stick to ones that have, at least have kind of crossed over.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
some on Netflix, and then I'll see that you're covering the same people, that's
right.
smart.
Right. Well, I don't see what I do is I don't watch anybody else's channels, and I don't, and the sad thing is I love documentaries. It's one of my favorite
Oh, me
genres.
too, me too.
One of my favorite genres, but I can't watch them anymore because I don't want, unless it's about something I know I'm never going to cover, or unless they're not going to locations, because I don't want my work being like, I don't want to get any information from a
Right.
doc. Then I might, what do you call it, subconsciously
Mhm.
film the same way or say the same thing like that another documentary crew did or whatever. And but one thing I try to make different that documentaries don't do is when they go to a true crime location, they're going to pan across the house where it happened, and then they're going to go to a talking head telling
Mm.
you about it and this, and a lot of those talking heads, I'm not going to be able to get because they're probably being paid by Netflix
Right.
or documentary crew, or they're they'll respond to Netflix faster than me. But what I like to do is I like to show the audience where it happened, and I'll linger on that for a long time, and I'll walk around the places because you don't get to see that even on
Yeah.
the nightly news. When they show something happening, you don't get a feel for the place. I'll take you around the neighborhood. That's what I like to do. It's
Oh, yeah.
hard. It's hard because of the neighbors. They know why you're there with a camera, but I can be pretty stealth if I want to
Well, I
be.
love your honesty too when you're there. I know you're like, you're honest. You're like, "Hey, the neighbors really don't like people being around here, and so we're gonna see what happens."
Yeah. Oh
I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll always do a drive by of the house or the building or whatever first, just to see what's going on, what's it look like, what are some angles, and then I'll park my car, wherever I decide, either a few houses away, or a few buildings away, and then I just got to do it. I just got to
Right.
go do it, and not care about if people are gonna say whatever. I'm gonna be respectful. I would never get into a conflict. I did get into a confrontation once with a lady who was very rude to me. It's not even her house. She was, a neighbor across the street, and the house was empty anyway. But otherwise, I'm very like, I'm respectful of the fact, and also in the place that I'm filming, somebody experienced, or some people experience the worst moment of their life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I keep that in mind, and I'm just like, well, here I am. I got to do this, and so thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was a huge, I was a huge Chris Cross fan. So when you covered Chris Kelly, that was
Yeah.
really really special watching that. How do you find these places? I mean, are you just Googling or
Well, I mean, for Chris Kelly, that was one that I had planned for a long time, and uh, being like again, the guy's the right age. That was when to me that's like the golden age of hip hop and rap, of course, when Chris Cross was around, and I love their first 2 albums. Like I love them.
me too, me too.
Those,
Yeah,
those are some great, and they're not just cheesy albums to me. They're great. They're great.
right.
Their second single, I mean, the first single from their second album, All Right, is just I think it's
Oh yeah, yeah. The
that
bomb
song.
album, or it's the
Yeah.
bomb. Yeah.
So what I do is I have to. Sometimes it's easy to find these houses where they lived or where they died, either one. Because I go to some places where stars lived, not just necessarily where they died, but it's you gotta I've had to call real estate agents. I've had to go to city halls, libraries, like that sort of thing. Because I don't want to just double check it. I want to triple check it to
Mm,
make sure I'm at the right place. Like I just recently did Irene Cara,
mm, yeah.
Flashdance, and then I was on my way to the house where she passed away, and then excuse me, then my friend was I was on the phone with my friend. He's like, which house are you going to? I'm like, what do you mean, which house? He's like, well, she had two in that area. I was like, what? So I looked it up. I found out. So then I sat like in the Florida heat on the side of the road for like an hour, Googling, trying to figure out. Then I was searching property record, timing, where she sold this house. So then I had to turn around and go to the right house. And then I matched it up. If you see,
Oh,
I think I matched it up with scenes from the official some newspaper that published them. Same thing happened with Harry Anderson, who was the judge on Night Court.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I went to his house where he passed away, and then I was looking at it. I was like, "This isn't the house." I said, "I'm sure he. I know." I was with a friend who does the same thing that I do, but just takes pictures. And so I said, "I'm gonna go ask a neighbor." I said, "I'm gonna ask a neighbor," and we drove around. I found this one guy sitting on his porch. About 60, late 50s. I said, "He looks like Harry Anderson. He's gonna know." And sure enough, he said, "Oh yeah, no, Harry lived in that house, but the one he died in is over there." I was like, I know that house. I know the address. I have it. So again, I got that right. Thank goodness.
That sounds like almost like a documentary. Like you could make a documentary about you doing all these filming all
Yeah, I
these
mean,
locations.
it would be crazy because you'd see me like literally like on my laptop or on my phone, just Googling, and just matching up. But it's a lot of matching up dates, name, and you got to like sometimes celebrity, it's a house will be registered under their real name or a shell company, not like an illegal type company, but like under a company name. But a lot of times that company name has something to do with their art, whatever it was, like
Yeah.
television, music. So I haven't been wrong yet. So let's
Where did
hopefully.
you where did you get this idea to do this show, this YouTube show? I mean, you've been doing how long you've been doing it for about 6 years, 7 years?
6 years. 6 years. I thought it was 6 years last week, but I just got a notification from YouTube uh this morning. It said happy 6 year anniversary. And I was like, oh, I was ahead by a week. So no, if you look on my if people were to look on my Instagram, I've been uploading pictures to there more now. If you look at my Instagram, I've been going to places like this for years, like cemeteries, famous like where John F. Kennedy Jr. died. I got pictures of me with Mike Myers and Adam Sandler and like
Oh,
famous
cool.
people because I love celebrities. My channel has a lot to do with celebrities. So I've been doing this when I was the best way I can put it is when I was a kid, my parents and my sister felt she was too old to go on this family trip. So it was just me and my parents driving down to Florida. We're taking I-75. So we're going through Atlanta. I insisted to my parents that we stop at, I think it was the Omni Hotel, because I wanted to go take a picture of the room. This picture with like camera. No, this is late 80s, whenever it happened. The room where Rob Lowe got caught having sex with the girl and he almost went to jail for it. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that big scandal. It changed
Yeah, I
Rob Lowe.
remember that.
My mother was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, I have to. And she's like, "What is wrong with my kid?" So I just love, celebrity scandal and weird stuff like that. And I got the picture.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've always been into it. Yeah. So YouTube comes around and you're like, well, did you get inspired by other YouTube channels or did
Well,
you?
I didn't know. I was doing like and again, once I went to LA for the first time in 2012, I took all the like I spent an extra week there. We were there for 2 weeks, my friend and I, one of my best friends, and then we said, let's stay another week because it was so much. We're seeing all the cool stuff. So I took all these pictures. Then I started going back on my own because I was working a different type of job than everybody else at the time, like my 9 to 5 friends. I was like, I'll just see what it's like to go on vacation or by myself. So I started going to LA a lot and made friends there and stuff. And then I went to Florida with friends and I made a test video because I thought, well, this could be a video I could put up online. But to me, all I knew about YouTube to me was music videos and clips from The Office. I didn't know people. I didn't know people. I like up until like 2015, I didn't even know people had channels, or maybe 2016. But there was a website of filming locations, people going to film and putting little videos up, and one of them connected to YouTube, and that was Adam the Woo. Do you know Adam the Woo?
Yes, I've seen his videos. Yeah.
Right. So I
It's
saw
good.
and it went to his channel on YouTube. I was like, whoa, this is on YouTube. Then I found a whole bunch of stuff, people having their own channel. I found a lot of people like, in their room doing, whatever they were doing. I was like, I should be putting my stuff up there. And and I'm comfortable. I've always been comfortable on camera since I was a kid. So I just had the idea. I made a test video. I didn't upload it for like 10 months. And then I uploaded it. And then it got like 12 views or something, but 10 of those people weren't my friends or family. It went 20, 30 views. All of a sudden you get a comment from somebody from like Oklahoma. And you're like, wow, this is cool. Then you upload a second one and the third one. And then I went to LA and I filmed a whole bunch. And they got okay, tiny views, like 500, 600, I can't even remember. But you get kind of addicted to that rush of being like, wow, people are actually out there. There's definitely people watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I was like, when I got back to Toronto, then when I ran out of videos, I was like, oh, I forgot about this part. Now I have to go out somewhere. Now I have to go somewhere else. So it cost me a lot of money to keep going the first 2 or 3 years. Like I was paying like a lot out of pocket and like staying in pretty shitty motels and stuff like that because and to go to these places and film. But then once I was in Florida and I was at a hotel with my friend Michael and his girlfriend, and my phone just started going ding, 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 ding. I was like, what is going on? My subscriber count was blowing up. And I was like, what is happening? And it was my Michael Jackson grave video. So I
Oh,
went
cool.
from like 400 subscribers to like 4,000 in a day. And all of a sudden, that to me, I was like, this is what it feels like. All right, here we go, 1 million subscribers. No, not as easy as, but still, it was still, I mean, it was a rush, and
That's
then,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
how did you get his were you using, like, hashtags and, like, how did you get his fan base to find your video?
Well, I titled it correctly, which is
Okay.
Michael Jackson's real grave location, because a lot of people had been going to Forest Lawn, Glendale, and leaving flowers and stuff and Michael Jackson records, and having the parties and stuff outside of the one main door, and saying Michael Jackson there. And I was like, well, he's not. He is in there, but you could actually see the exact window if you walk around. So I remember that day I was in the valley. I was at like a department store, like an athletic store, buying something, and I was looking at my watch. I was like, I wonder if I can make it to Glendale in time. Like, and back then I didn't really know LA that well, like I do now. So I drove there. So the sun's setting when I'm there. And I just wandered around talking about Michael Jackson for 20 minutes. Then finally I get to the point where I show where he actually is. And it took a few months, but all of a sudden, I think I filmed that in April or May of that year. Then it was like August when I was in
Mm,
Florida. All of a sudden, just because I called it Michael Jackson's real grave location. And that was my number one video for a long time, and
yeah,
that
dude.
inevitably, that's when you start getting people being like, dude just walks around talking and doesn't show anything until 20 minutes in. I'm like, well, I didn't know what I was doing back then.
Hey,
So
who taught you how to edit? Because I mean, you edit so well. I mean, did you just teach yourself or
yeah, I just taught myself. I mean, I went to school for film production, university, but that's a while ago. So all these new editing programs, I just had to learn, and it's one of the most it's the most time consuming. It just can take a long time, but when it's done, there's no better feeling because you're like, wow, like it's finally done. I've got the one I'm working on for Saturday. It's over 2 hours of footage, and I got to get that down a lot because that's a long
yeah.
time. It's probably going to be over an hour. This video, it's going to be my longest one, I'm sure. But the editing so far is looking good, and yeah, just self-taught and just the way I like, kind of the way I like the way things look, and I don't edit it for like, say for instance, I'm going to go to like DMX's grave that I put
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I
Like,
saw that.
if I'm gonna do a video about DMX's grave, I'm not gonna start the video with me on camera going, "Here I am at DMX's grave." Turn the camera around, show his grave. That would be the smarter thing. I know that because viewers will stay on longer because you're there right away. You're showing because people will skip through.
Mhm.
But that's not the style of filmmaking I want to do. I want each video to be almost like a mini film. So
Yes.
have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know what I mean? So, so that's what I do. I start off somewhere else or close to it, and I'll talk about the artist or talk about the subject. I want to show you the drive in. I want to show you all the stuff around it, put music and clips and whatever, me talking more. I have no desire to put my face on camera more than it is. But to get the story across, I gotta talk. And
Yeah.
I like doing like I could this video that's coming on Saturday. I know I could edit it down to 15 minutes if I want to. There's like 15 locations in the video, probably
Mhm.
15 to 16 locations that I want. But I want to show you the location for a long time. Each one, it's a heavy case. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I know I could do more the YouTube style, which is, for viewers. And some viewers, like, they'll put in the comments like, "Oh, it takes so long to get to this, or takes so long to get that." I'm like, "Oh well, like,
Yeah. Oh
sorry,
well, it's not for them then. Yeah.
not for you. You're used
Yeah.
to something else. I get it, but I like creating a story."
Yeah, man. I that's what drew me in. Is it's like
Thanks.
a short documentary almost. It's
Thanks.
not.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, they are documentaries, and that's what I'm trying to do, is make it like an experience for the viewer.
Yeah. So do
'Cause
you release episodes like you said on Saturday? Do you do them every Saturday or do you have a
every other
schedule?
day, every other day.
Every other day.
Every other day. I do not now when I'm on the road, sometimes I'll let a day go by. And now that I'm back in Toronto for a little bit, I'll do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then Sunday a live chat, and then Monday a day off, Tuesday another video. But I've got like e- when I go on these trips, like, they used to be before YouTube, I'd go to LA or Florida, whatever, on vacation. Now these are work trips. So it's all work nonstop. And I'll film 2 to 3 videos a day. So I have over 200 videos still to put together.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy. Like, some
Yeah,
people write
that's
me
crazy.
on the live chat, so they'll be like, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I should. Stay tuned," because I know I already did it, right? And then now here I am, 3.5 weeks away from leaving again to go on this other big filming trip. I'm gonna come back with even more. Like, it gets annoying in my head, but I can't stop. I love
Do
it.
you do you ever have like you need like an assistant, I'd say, man, with that
I
many
need
interviews.
I think I need to I definitely need, because I forget which, like, I've twice now I've gone to locations and I'd be like, "I've been here before. I filmed this."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's crazy. That happened to me twice, but right now I can just, there's ones that I don't remember, but if I'm looking through, or I hear something about something, I'll be like, "Hey, I did a video on that. I have that," and I'll put it up because so I don't forget it again. But yeah, like the DMX one, I didn't have planned to put up today. It was like going to be 3 weeks from now.
Mhm.
I had to go on, but then the other one I was working on, I had a mic issue today with my voiceover, so I was like, I don't want to run to the Best Buy and see if they have this mic and whatever. So I just ordered one on Amazon and just put together a different video, the DMX
Right.
one, really quickly, and it's doing okay. It's doing good.
No, that's great. Does
Yeah.
YouTube pay pretty well? I mean, are they covering like all this traveling you're doing? And
Now it's covering. Finally. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Now like it's my full-time job. So I'm doing good. But I mean, I've never been about the money, you know what I mean? Like, I've
Right.
never been all I want is to continue to be able to do YouTube and do it well, and this will be my job, as it's been for 3 years full time now. So continue to be that way. I don't but when it comes to like something like, buy a really cool car, I'm like, why? I have a 2017 car. What do I need another car for? Until
Yeah,
that
I'm the
I've
same
got
way.
yeah.
Point A to point B.
Yeah, if so, what am I gonna go? Like, I don't need to go and buy a hoodie. I've got a hoodie. I've got a buy a hoodie. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I need. I'm not a materialistic type person when it comes to money and stuff like that. So as long as I make enough money to do it, I'm happy. More than happy.
Yeah, man. Do you get like recognized? I mean, do you have like fans now when you're traveling? I mean, you're doing so
Yeah.
many stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, my channel, because it spans so many different topics, and so many, like, Luther Vandross fans aren't
Yeah.
necessarily Eminem fans or DMX fans. Michael Jackson fans aren't necessarily Eminem fans or true crime fans. So that helps my channel get a lot of different exposure, which in turn, uh, it's when I go filming, it's usually once a day. But if I'm in Toronto or LA especially, I get recognized a lot, which is, to me, it's if I was a kid, if I was like 20, maybe I
Yeah.
get like ego and think, oh, I'm the man,
Right.
but I'm not.
Oh, that yeah.
I'm more than double that. So to me, it just warms my heart, and I'm just like, hey, you want to? Because about a year ago, people would be like, hey, you're that guy on YouTube. They walk by me, I'd be like, yeah, and they'd be like, cool, and I'd be like, oh, you no picture. We're good. That's it. Now people that come up to me after pictures, but I also have no uh misconceptions if it's the hair too. Like you can spot my hair a
Yeah, your
mile.
hair's pretty noticeable, yeah,
If you
recognizable.
if you've seen my hair once
Yeah.
on video, and then you see me again, and then you see me in real life, you know, if I had regular hair on the sides, I know for a fact that people probably would not recognize me as much. But I don't do it like this for that. I just do it like this because I'm an idiot. I like it. I like it. But I was in a cemetery on my last day in LA last year. I was on the phone with a friend. It's really funny. And I said, "Oh, there's 3 other cars just pulled in near me. It's a small cemetery." And they got out, and "Oh," I said, "2 guys with a notepad." I said, family with little kids." I said, "I guarantee you these people are going to recognize me." And they're like, "No, they're not." I said, "Yeah, they are." I said, "This cemetery is too small, and it's too many famous people here, and I've been here a lot." And sure enough, they each came up to me and they, "Hey, we watched your channel," and it was so sweet, you
Oh,
know,
that's so cool.
because it's one of the smallest cemeteries in LA, and all the celebrities are there. And I was just like, "Yeah, this is,"
You
But
knew
like I
her you
said,
knew ahead.
yeah, I knew ahead, and then and everybody's so nice. They're like, "Oh, we don't want to bother you." I'm like, "Well, bother me. Like, let's walk together. Let's talk." And because I love talking to people, I like knowing what they do, and what I do is fun and interesting to people. I get it, but doesn't mean I'm not interested in other people. You
Yeah,
know,
man. That's so cool.
I love meeting viewers. And when I go to conventions with my friend John, who runs a lot of the conventions, people come up to me and him because he's very recognizable from YouTube and from horror stuff. And everybody's so sweet. Everybody's so sweet. I get people in the comments section like, "Dude, your hair looks like you stuck your finger in a light socket.
Hmm?
Dude, you're too old for that haircut." Blah blah blah, shit like that. But
Oh,
in
you
person,
always get that,
yeah,
negative stuff.
but in person, nobody ever comes up to me and says that. They're always like, "Hey."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, yeah, keyboard warriors. But
Keyboard wars, yeah, that's funny.
even that, like even when people write, if they write something like that, I'm like, it's not funny. If you're funny, if it's a funny comment about my hair, I'll pin it. I'll pin it at the top. If you're making, I'll make fun of myself. Why not? But if it's not funny, I'll be like, nah, not funny.
Do you have, like, merch and stuff? I mean, you have, like, T-shirts with your logo and stuff?
I haven't, but I do. It's going to be coming probably within the next week or two. A friend of mine designed stuff for me last year, and I had stickers, so I gave stickers out to viewers, and
Oh,
especially.
yeah, yeah, to
I need,
promote.
I need viewers in a lot of cities. Like if they reach me on Instagram or whatever, they'll be like, "Hey, you're going to be in my city." And if I recognize their name, I'll vet them, make sure they're not crazy. And I'll say, "Yeah, let's meet up, whatever you want to do, or you come along with me." I put random viewers in videos anytime they want. I'm down with that. Come along with me. And so I give stickers, especially if they have little kids, because kids love stickers. So I give them stickers. And so now another friend of mine, who I just reconnected with after a few years, she lives right around the corner. She came up with all these designs that I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
So I scrapped all the old ones, gave her some of them, and then she's putting it all together for me. So it's going to be, I've always kind of felt weird putting up merchandise, but eh, people seem to kind of want it.
Well,
And
they like it, man. That's cool.
yeah, it's an additional source of income too. And what better advertising for if somebody's walking around wearing a t-shirt says Scott
Yeah.
on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Do you ever like, I've been doing podcasting too for a few years now, and do have you ever thought about? I'm kind of thinking about what I'm doing, but I was thinking for you, would you ever think about doing like a live show or something, talking about, movies or music or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah. I mean, whenever I get together with viewers, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like nonstop question. And I do a live show on YouTube once a week, usually when I do my live show.
Hmm.
So, I mean, to like, if I get it bigger on YouTube, I would love to do like a mini theater tour. Just sit
Yeah.
people at Q&A. I mean, I can talk, as you can tell.
No,
I can
you're great.
talk, I can talk nonstop if people ask me questions or they want to, whatever. And my live chats get pretty lively, like with the masks and wigs and accents and whatever I'll do. I'm just like,
Yeah, because you could talk about locations you've been at and have kind of a slideshow.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
that'd be really cool.
yeah. I've always had that thought, and I wanted to do a podcast too. I was thinking about
Oh
that,
yeah, you
you
should.
know, something like that, because and I love to have like I listen to a lot of Howard Stern,
I love
especially
Howard Stern.
me
Yeah.
too. Like he's the greatest interviewer, and especially around the era 2006, 2000 to 2013, all the different like employees and guests and all that he had. Something like that, have like guest on that's maybe famous, or have a guest on that's just a
Hmm.
little nuts. I don't know. I would love to just talk to people.
Yeah. Kind of going back to YouTube real quick. Do you
Mhm.
ever get? Do you ever have issues with YouTube? Do they ever like flag your videos, or do you ever they ever give you strikes or anything like that, or do you stay pretty clear from that?
Well, I've never gotten a strike, thank goodness, because 3 strikes you're out on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I've gotten. I mean, because I put in some clips from movies or things like that. So if I'll get a copyright claim, usually within
Mm.
the first before it's published, while it's uploaded, I'll just go back and edit it out or slow it down or something. Or something like music. Sometimes like I think I'm using copyright free music, and then I'll get a claim on. I'm like, what? Like that just happened with a big video I just put up 2 weeks ago. So I've been you can edit afterwards after it's up on YouTube. So I edit out the song, then the song is heard again near the end. So they put the artist
Oh yeah.
claim on it again. I was like, dude, I'm gonna keep editing it out until you're no longer on my channel, because you said copyright free in your video description, and that's not fair. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I would gladly, if I could use Eminem's music, if I could use Faith No More, The Police, Nirvana, I see it all in
Yeah,
the
dude.
background.
Yeah.
I could use some clips of their music. It would make every video so much better if I could use the real music. And they said that that's gonna happen soon, where you
Oh,
can,
is it?
yeah, like Instagram stories, YouTube, you're gonna be allowed to share
Yeah.
some with the artist without them taking all of it. And I'll gladly give, whatever it's gonna be, 25%, whatever of if I can start using music by my favorite artists. It's
Uh-huh.
a game changer for me, because I want to be able to say, remember this song while I'm at a place, and that song immediately will take you somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if that's gonna happen in the future. I like your videos. They're kind of. I mean, when you're uploading them, you know how dances, but they're made for kids, right? I mean, your channel's pretty clean. I mean, you're not cussing a lot, which
No,
is
well,
nice.
I put every video up as not made for kids. You have to put it up as normative
Yes,
too,
right.
right? So I put it not made for kids, but I say, like, I get a lot of people writing me like, our whole family watches, or my kids watch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when they say that, I'm like, how old are your kids? like, and I've met viewers with little kids, and they, sometimes I'm like, you watch my channel? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh. Because I don't like, in real life, I do swear. I'm Canadian.
Right.
The
Yeah.
the F word is literally after every sentence. So that's sort of the thing. But I'll put up a warning, and like I do a lot of joke videos every now and again. Not a lot, but where I play a different character. I did moving out of Florida, stuff like that, where I said the F word 76 times in a 3 minutes span. I think somebody counted. I think it was within 3 minutes I said the F word. So it was all a joke. So I put up a warning before that.
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah.
more like you can't. But and some people, even when I've said, in a serious video, if I've dropped the F bomb, or, Jesus Christ or something, uh, people will say, oh, potty mouth, or you shouldn't, you don't need to swear. I'm like, you're watching a video where I just talked about the worst crime imaginable, and the F word offends you? Like, what's happening? What's happening in your life, that the story of this guy, gutting another dude on the street or whatever, somebody, but that you're fine to sit through, but you know,
I get. Yeah. It's so.
don't
Yeah. That's so
don't
such
say
a
shit.
slippery slope. Yeah.
Weird. Just don't. If you don't swear within the first 2 minutes on YouTube, you're pretty much good.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's the
Yeah.
first 2 minutes that they scan for swear words. So they
I didn't
scan
know that.
yeah, they scan your whole video for overall content before you upload it. But the first 2 minutes, I make sure now, because I used to sometimes, swear if I'm excited, whatever. But like I've always said, like I'm not gonna be someone I'm not, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
viewers
right.
who know me know that all my live chats, they try to bait me into getting into one of my rants where I'm just going off swearing, but which is funny. That's a live chat and I don't really care. But no, YouTube is pretty friendly to me. Like I talk to a guy at YouTube a lot and they like my channel, which is good. So I don't think I'm in any danger of being canceled for saying the F word too much, but I try not to.
Kind of finishing up here, but I love the live chat you've done. I've never done live chats. Is that intimidating when you're just you just take whatever question comes? I mean,
Well,
do you do that on Instagram? Is that where you do your live
I do them
chats?
on both, but I do them on YouTube
Oh,
more.
okay,
Like
YouTube. Yeah,
Instagram will just be something I'll just pop on, just to do one, whatever. Or I'll do
yeah, that's so
interesting,
cool.
friends that have Instagram stuff related to my channel. I'll go on theirs. But you should do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're very talkative. For me, like I said, I've never been camera shy. So when I started doing them a lot during the pandemic more regularly. Like I
Mm.
started doing them a lot because there was nothing else to do. But I had done them before that. But I was always a little kind of not fully myself because my mom, who I moved in with just before she passed away, was in the other room watching. And then I knew if I was on the road, my mom was watching. So, any any little boy in their head, knowing their
You're
mom
right.
is watching them and they're saying, dirty words or because I make dirty jokes. I'm like, and I could hear it. I would hear my mom watching, being like, "Ah," laughing, or she'd yell out, "Oh God, Scott!" And I'd be like, oh. But she had a great sense of humor, thank goodness. But yeah, I lived with her just before she passed, so
Oh,
I just started getting, 40 people, 50 people, and then now it's up to like 400, 500 at a time watching. And at that point, I figure, I've kind of lost the script somewhat, so to speak. I can't control. I've
yeah,
got
so
yeah,
much, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I can slow it down, but I don't because I'm like, oh, if I see your response, I'll see it. But I've got 3 administrators that keep track of, if
Oh,
anybody's
cool.
flaming the chat or being. But I don't get that a lot, which is really nice. I just get, some people try to make a joke or whatever, or a mean joke, but they always like, I'm just kidding, man. So it's really nice, like because
Yeah.
I think the way I present myself to people, because I'm really sarcastic on the live chats, which is how I am. But the other, as everybody is, everybody has more than one side to them in a good way, not like
Right.
two. Everybody has more than one side. So I think when they see me at graves and all that, they know that I'm not a dick or an asshole.
Mhm, mhm.
And I
Yeah.
and I and I love the viewers and I like supporting smaller, like I'm really into supporting smaller channels and stuff like that because I wouldn't, if I didn't film with a couple of bigger YouTubers, I wouldn't be here. And if I didn't have the viewers, I wouldn't be here. So to answer your question, I don't get intimidated doing live chats because everybody's really nice. And I just go off and just talk and, just go
Yeah.
like stand up for an hour and a half and then boom, gone.
Do you okay, one of my last questions is of all these you've done this for so long, do you have like a certain episode that you'd want to pin to like this is a good representation of my show, or do you have like one or two episodes, that
Yeah.
you're pretty proud of?
Yeah, I think probably I think if I could choose maybe like 3, I would definitely do one of my moving to Florida or selling my Florida home because that was all a joke.
Oh, that was
That was
good.
all
That
fake.
was so funny.
Thank you. Like that was
Oh
all
yeah.
fake, right? So like, a lot of people still believe it.
I believed it too, but I was watching, I was like, wow. Then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
And
a
then
joke.
I tell at the end, like I'm like at the end, like, I'm gonna really move. So I think that would be one that I would definitely put up just to show that my videos are not all death and sadness. So definitely that. Then I would put up probably I would have to say but my Buddy Holly one. Well, I
Mm,
don't know if you saw that one because to me, that was a long time coming to get there. And when I got there, it was more than I thought it would be. And then I was filming, I was getting what I wanted. Then when I drove out to where the crash actually happened, it was so windy and just the sky. And then I looked up at the sky as I was filming. I was like, and then I was in between all the corn stalks, and it's a long walk through the corn to get to where it happened. And I looked at it, I was like, it doesn't matter what I say, Like, I remember thinking this. I was like, it doesn't matter what I say in this video to try and, the story's told by that sky and the wind and the corn. Like, I could just see, and I started filming ahead the walk, and I was just talking a little bit, just casually talking, and you can see the corn waving, and the sky is like so scary looking in the background, the occasional bits of thunder. So that, to me, that video, and unfortunately that day, the day I uploaded that, YouTube crashed. So I got no views on it for 2 days, and it took it out of the algorithm. So I had to work really hard to get it back into the algorithm. So it didn't do as well as I wanted, but it still does okay. And then
Yeah.
I think my other video would be either James Bird, who was the African American man who was murdered down in Texas.
Mhm.
He was dragged behind a truck. I did those locations in his,
Mm.
which was really one that I wanted to do for a long time when I started my channel. And then Matthew Shepard, where he was murdered out in Wyoming. That took me 6 hours out of my way, 6 hours there and back.
Oh.
That was a big one for me to do. So I put those up, and then, you know, I've got a few coming, I think that, and then the West Memphis 3 one that I just put up, I think represents the way I do my true crime. I like to focus on the victims
Mm-hmm.
more, the culprit more than the perpetrator. And of course, in West Memphis 3, there is none. We don't know who they are, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was crazy, man. Those guys are free now, right? So that's
yeah,
such a
they're
huge thing.
free, which is great because I mean, DNA points to them not doing it. People still believe they did it, but I don't
Yeah,
think
but it's so funny back in the day. Oh, you listen to Metallica, you're
right.
guilty. Yeah, yeah. What
That's what I mean. Yeah, the what is it called? The Satanic Panic.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody thought, yeah, if you listen to Metallica or wearing black, you must be crazy. So yeah, I think those videos. I mean, there's even like when I went to I would put up like say to somebody, oh, well, if you like Britney Spears, why don't you watch the video where I went to her hometown and went to her museum and went to her childhood bedroom? I mean, not a lot of people do that.
Mm.
Or I went downtown LA and found the stage that's still there where Beyonce did the Crazy in Love video with Jay-Z, where the car is
Oh,
breaking
cool.
back.
Yeah.
You can go around the corner and the little stage that was made for the video is still there. Like
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is like 2 billion views on YouTube, this video, and they left the stage. And I went up to the stage and just danced like Beyonce. So something like that. Even that is not a heavy topic, but it was fun,
Yeah.
and it's a fun video.
I like the variety. There's so much. How do you know when it's too soon to cover something? Because I was thinking of Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters. I mean, would you cover like what happened with him, or is there a certain
Yeah.
period?
No, I would. When I went to LA back in May, sorry, November. So I'm going in May. When I went back for the Eminem show, I
Right.
decided to stay 3.5 weeks to film. When I was there, Coolio had just died,
Mm.
Aaron Carter had just died, and
Yeah.
Les Jordan. All
Mm.
three of them within a week or something. And I just kept getting message after message. Are you gonna do Aaron Carter? Are you gonna do Coolio? Are you gonna do some of Les Jordan? And then my sister said, my sister was a big Leslie Jordan fan. She said, when you're there, you do some of Les Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what am I gonna do on Leslie Jordan? Then I go by the site where he crashed, which is
Mhm.
right down the street from where I stay, and there was a wreath there and a dent in the wall, and I was like, that's kind of a story. And then my friends live close to where Aaron Carter, up in Lancaster, which is far north of LA.
Yeah.
They live close to where Aaron Carter, and then I was like, I keep getting asked about Aaron Carter, but I'll go up and see them, and I love Lancaster. And then when I got to Aaron's house, there was so much stuff left out in front for him, like so much, like flowers and toys, everything. So I was like, it's not too soon to cover this because people are coming out here,
Right. Yeah.
and
Good point.
the people want to see it, and people are coming here anyways. The Coolio one, I was like, no, he doesn't have he's already been passed for a while, and I think he was cremated. So I was like, well, I want to see where he passed away. I may as well put it up. So sometimes, and I have a friend that ribs me about that. Is like, dude, you're like first on the scene. Who are you, like Nightcrawler? Like, and I'm like, no, like that's not how I do it. But there's some like you wouldn't believe how many texts and messages I've gotten today about Jerry Springer. Are you gonna do something?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
gonna do something on Jerry Springer? I'm like, he's still in the funeral home. Like,
Yeah. We just found out.
he's still in the
Yeah.
hospital probably. Like,
Right.
so I'm like, I get that all the time, but I thought at one point there would be a point where I would say this is, or something is too soon. But now I'm just like, if I'm in the area, if
Hmm.
I'm near it, I'm never going to sensationalize it. I don't think I do
Yeah.
that. So the Aaron Carter video and Coolio video, like, they all did well, and nobody said really, like, people want to see the house and they had their opinions of how the person died. But Taylor Hawkins, I mean, uh if I was in Colombia, I definitely would go to the hotel for
Hmm.
sure. For sure,
Yeah.
I would do a video on that now. And I've done a few Foo Fighters videos. I've been to their studio where they.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I saw one of those. Yeah, with the recording. Yeah.
Well, I did where Dave did the first album by himself in,
Yes, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
yeah, Robert Lang Studios. Then I went to Studio 606 in the Valley where they
Yeah.
recorded a couple of albums. And I think I showed something else to do with them. Maybe one of Dave's houses. I can't remember. But there's not much on Taylor Hawkins you can do because I don't know if he has from what I can tell, I know he doesn't have a grave. So there's not much. I mean, where
See,
would
I
I
didn't know
go?
that. Yeah, I
He
didn't
doesn't
know
have a
that.
grave.
Yeah.
Well, see, I get asked about Kobe all the time, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And will you go to his grave? Will you go to his grave? And I went to the helicopter crash location last year just
Yeah.
because I was nearby, and I was like, I think I'm near where Kobe crashed, and that was hard. It was hard physically to get to, and it was also very sad.
Yeah.
So people ask me all the time, will you go to Kobe's grave? And it's unmarked on Find a Grave. But through somebody who's told me, who's never let me down before, they've told me exactly where his grave is in the cemetery. But I won't go there. I won't do it because not only does the family not want, it known where he is, his daughter's there and she's
Mm.
a kid. And to me, that would be the ultimate violation, is to go show an unmarked grave or to show where their grave is. And if it was Kobe, I might have less of a crisis of conscience. But because Gigi, his daughter, is there, it's a no go for me.
Yeah.
That's Vanessa Bryant, his wife. That's her little baby girl there. No way. You
Yeah,
know,
man. I respect that, dude.
she
Yeah.
does not want people obviously knowing. So my friend, who, like I said, he's gotten me saw a couple of really big locations before and got me to, so I know he's correct when it comes to exactly where Kobe is in the cemetery. But no,
Yeah,
yeah.
I respect that. That's actually it's talking about your friend. That's good to have a friend like that. That
Oh
can
yeah. Well,
tell
yeah,
you everything.
yeah, like I get like I get a lot of, like, people write to me and say, I can get you here, I can get you here. And I'm like, well, can you or can't you? And
Yeah, do
then,
you get catfish? Like I can
like,
get you here and it's nowhere.
yeah, well, I wait, like, I'll vet them hard, but I get it every day. Like, if you ever come to my town, you hear. But this one guy was messaging me a lot saying I can get you inside the mausoleum, Michael Jackson's mausoleum, and we can go right up to his grave. And I'm like, okay, like, okay, dude, like, that's like the hardest building. It's like Fort Knox.
Yeah, Fort Knox.
And
Yeah.
I was like, so I read it, I was like, yeah, maybe when I'm there. Then he messaged me again. I was like, okay, well, maybe when I come to LA, then I guess he saw that I was coming to LA, and he messaged me again. He said, do you want to do that? Do you want to go to the mall? And then I looked up, then I finally looked at his Instagram profile, and he's like a young dude from Brooklyn who lives in LA. I was like, he doesn't look crazy.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I said, Forest Lawn Glendale's 15 minutes from where I stay. Met up with him, and we went in, filmed it. We spent 3 days together because we went back because I didn't like the way I filmed it the first time. And now he's like one of my great friends because it just, he was right. He had a key to get in. You know what I mean? Which is one of the
Dude, that's
hardest now.
awesome.
I'm definitely persona non grata at Forest Lawn Glendale. I know that for a fact because I've gone into the private areas to film, but I had a key. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? No signs saying you can't. So I'm not breaking any laws. Definitely not. I would never do that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so people
That's
write.
cool.
I got to double check sometimes. Like, sometimes it's like, you can't get, like, if somebody wrote to me, hey man, I can get you to meet Eminem tomorrow. I'd be like, okay, sure you can. Well, let me double check, and then I'd be like, okay. So yeah, I mean, people write to me with tips and stuff to do, but usually it comes up from my own head. I just like, well, I can't fly just to, you know, I don't know, Nevada on a whim and do one case or one thing.
Yeah, man.
The true crime thing. People will. write to me and say, Scott, there was a murder yesterday in, you know, Splitsville, Maine. You got to come here. And I'm like, it happened. I'm not a cop. Like I can't walk up to the yellow police line and go, Scott on tape, YouTube. You know, like people think I'm a detective or something sometimes. Like it comes with the territory, but it's funny. Like I get messages all the time. Like, Scott, something this happened in our town just 2 days ago. I'm like, am I going to investigate? Like, I can't wait till the crime is solved. I can't do much about it.
That's cool. You got a fan base like that, though. I mean,
Yeah, I do. I do. I
that's
love
so
the
nice.
music's so nice. Like they're I always they if you that's the nicest and sweetest thing about doing YouTube is how many I get written to like I get even choked up just even thinking about it, like people who just say like I'm sick, and I can't travel or I don't have the money to travel, and your channel helps me
Mm.
with anxiety, or your channel helps me go to places I know I'll never go, stuff like that. And
Wow.
I didn't anticipate that when I started the channel, and I get that a lot. So, I don't ever want to feel like I have a responsibility, but apart like now I'm like, okay, like people are watching not just because they're interested in the topics, but because they want 20 minutes out of their life,
Yeah.
watch some YouTube, and because YouTube, you're yourself. You're not, on TV on CSI or on Seinfeld. You're yourself. People feel closer to you. I didn't get that for a while. Like I didn't understand that connection. I was like, why do people write to me? Like, why do they like? What is that? But now I get it. Like I'm in their living rooms, or they're watching with their kids, and so it's to me. I'm like, wow, that's and if somebody takes 20 minutes out of their day to watch one of my videos, especially if they on Saturday, if they take an hour of their day to watch a video of Maya, it's flattering and I love it. And I've spoken to one of my good friends who's a huge YouTuber. He feels the same way. And so I hope that never changes. Like he's like the sweetest dude in the world. He's like, yeah, it blows my mind every time to think that even one person out there is watching a video I made.
Yeah. That's so cool. And the fact that you can just let your guard down and just be so open. I
Yeah,
mean,
I want to be I'll never. Yeah, definitely. I'm always just myself. I'm always like if I'm walking around having a fun time, that's how I am. And
mhm.
then when I'm going to these serious places, I'm the same way. I'm just having uh, uh not a good time, but I'm just being myself, going to these places, and I hope that definitely never changes. I don't think it will. Too
Yeah, it
old.
won't, man. That's cool. Hey, Scott, thank you for being on this podcast. This
Yeah, I
means a
wanted to
lot
ask
to
you.
me.
So, but who else have you had on the channel? I saw you had some pretty big people on your
Yeah,
podcast.
so I've this year I'm mostly doing Zoom, but I'll probably get back to doing in-person interviews. But I've had a lot of people. I've had some of the corn guys here.
Yeah, that's who I saw. Yeah.
I got invited to go to Corey Taylor's house. So from Slipknot in Nashville, not
Did
Nashville. I'm sorry, Vegas. Yeah,
he was on your channel, wasn't he? Corey
yeah,
Taylor?
yeah. I
You
went to
talked.
his house.
You already did go to his house?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yeah,
did you
yeah, that was
did you
really
do
cool.
it? Did you do a short and a video about it?
We just did one interview at his house. That's all I did. I didn't do any kind of anything else with that.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I saw a video about it, and I thought I saw like a 30-second clip from
Oh,
it.
clips. Yeah.
You
I
did.
over promote everything I do. So
No,
yeah,
that's amazing. That worked. That worked because
I'm trying.
yeah, because I bookmarked it because I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, Corey. I was at last year in Charlotte. I was at a viewer had contacted me. I was going to a convention. He said, "Can I meet you at the convention beforehand out front and say hi?" And I was like, and he's a good dude. He loves horror, and I was like, "Sure,
Oh
no
yeah.
problem."
Yeah.
So I sat down with him. We were talking with him and his dog, and then a bunch of people were getting out of cars stuff. And this guy came over. I forget who it was. He goes, "Hey, you want to meet Corey Taylor from Slipknot?" He knew he was friends with me. Like I forget, he kind of like knew me from my channel. I was like, "Yeah, of course I do."
Wow.
He goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, be here like 2 minutes. Corey will be here in like 2 minutes." And Corey came and got some pictures with him and blew my mind. Nicest dude in the world, eh?
Dude, yeah, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
super nice guy.
yeah. Yeah, so you had Corey Taylor, Corn, so a lot of new metal and stuff like that.
Well,
And
yeah, and to change it up a little bit, I interviewed Chris Farley's brother. Was
oh,
on the show.
John, Kevin.
Man, my mind just went blank right now. Oh, he's gonna kill me for not knowing. I can't remember now. Yeah, yeah, it's not Mike,
Probably Kevin.
maybe John, maybe. Oh, I'll have to correct this when I go back and look at it.
Is it put up yet?
It's already up yet. It's his older brother.
Ke
Um,
Is his older brother Kevin, or I
I
can't remember.
I want to let me see real fast. I'm gonna look here.
Yeah.
Tom Farley. Tom Farley.
Tom So he's not
Yes.
in the entertainment, is he in the entertainment business?
He does when he was on the show at the time he was doing public speaking, and he wrote a New York Seller's best book. He wrote a book about Chris Farley and
The
growing
one
up with him.
the main one, the big one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have it. I have it right here. I have it right in my bookshop
That
over there.
that's awesome, man. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, oh man, Chris Farley he was it for me, man.
Me
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
we're both in that generation.
Awesome. That's so cool. Okay, I'll watch that for sure. Yeah, they all look alike, eh? Those brothers. It's
They
crazy.
do.
Like you look at the brothers and it's like looking at Chris Farley.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and Tom is so super smart too. I mean, he's a really good guy and a genuine guy. Had a lot of good
Who's your
stories.
dream guest? Who would you love to have?
That's funny. We're talking about Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl is probably up there. I'd love to interview Dave Grohl. No, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that.
You never know. You never know. Like, I mean, I would love to have Dave Grohl as well. Like, but you never know. I mean, he's huge, right? He's one of the biggest rockstars in the world, but he's also one of the nicest guys in the world. And if you get to
Yeah,
the right
everybody says
person,
that. Yeah,
you get to the right person with the right connection, and you keep doing your podcast and don't give up, you never know. Like when I was a kid,
oh yeah, yeah.
I was a little kid, I was obsessed with the band Poison. Remember
I
Poison?
loved Poison when I was a kid. Yeah,
Obsessed with them. And then grunge came along and hip hop, whatever, and you get older, but I still love Poison all my life. And then I was in touch with Ricky Rocket, the drummer, who started a YouTube channel. He wanted to do a video with me. And then
whoa,
so we're, talking back and forth on Instagram. And then, when I was in LA last time, he's like, I'll just call you. I'll just call you right now. It's easier. And then, he's in my phone and whatever. Then he called me back for whatever. And I look at my phone and it's like Ricky Rocket. And it's ringing. And I'm like, if
that's
you
so cool.
told 10-year-old Scott that Ricky Rocket would be calling him on the phone, like and then all of a sudden I'm hanging out with him and I'm making fun of Poison, like I was, making Poison jokes and like puns and stuff, and he's like rolling his eyes and laughing, but he's a great guy. So you never know. You never
That
know.
is amazing. I want to see this. I'm going to look it up after this interview.
Yeah, and you got to watch his video with me too, because some crazy stuff happens in his video. So if you I think I put a link to his channel, just look up after that Ricky Rocket's channel, but the video with me in it, because it's not me that makes it cool, it's something that happens in it, and it's just wild.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm telling you, Scott, you never know, man. You never know. Like there's like people. I saw Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
I ran into him. He was making fun of me on the street in Hollywood.
Really?
He was heckling me across the street when I was filming a different video, and then I lapped him because I was walking faster with my friend, and I turned around as he was going, and I said, "Yo, is that Jason Mewes on the other side of the fence?" He goes, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, I screwed up your video. My wife is just yelling at me." He goes, "You're probably doing a YouTube video." I'm like, "Yeah, now you're going to be in one of my videos because you screwed it up." He's like, "Say no more." And like a week later, I got to do a video with him.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
it just things can happen. So never give up. Make Dave Grohl your white whale and go for it.
Thank you so much, because I look up to you. I mean, you've got a huge following. I mean, it's amazing. So
I
just you
think
saying that means a lot.
yeah, I honestly believe it. If you're nice, if you're a good person and you think hard enough and work hard enough, don't give up, don't stop. You can make stuff like that happen. And if you don't get Dave Grohl, maybe you get Pat Smear.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah, Pat Smear would be awesome.
You know what I mean? But then that leads to, or maybe you get, Foo Fighters manager or their tour manager. You know what I mean? They don't do interviews because nobody probably ever asks. Think to ask them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they all of a sudden Dave sees, or they tell Dave, or it's the world seems huge when it comes to stuff like that, but it's with social media and all that, it's not.
Yeah, that's so smart, by the way. Yeah, just
Yeah.
work your way up. Yeah.
Yeah, sneak in, be sneaky, go for go for people, not lower, but go for people that have a connection to them, and plus you know, you send like your resume, so to speak, which would be clips of you with Corey Taylor, you with a guy from Corey, to Dave,
Yeah.
to Dave's management. You know, they see, well, this guy has interviewed Corey Taylor. That's pretty huge. If he
Right.
sees that, Dave might be, you know what, I want to give this guy a shot.
It
Probably,
definitely makes it easier. Yeah.
he probably gets asked all the time, but he's, you know, he's also out. You see him walking around, walking his dog and cooking barbecue. He's got time. What the
Yeah.
hell? Yeah, come on, Dave.
That's great, man. Hey, Scott, man, this has been a real pleasure, man. Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for being on the show, and let's keep in touch, man. I'd love
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
to hang out sometime or talk or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Next time I'm in Atlanta, I'll stop by. Make sure you
Oh, that'd be cool.
tell me when this is going up so I can put a post up on YouTube and on my Instagram and all that.
100%. Yeah, man. Next time you're in Atlanta, I'd love to connect, man. That'd be cool.
For sure.
All right, man. Well, take care, brother. I
Hey, you
appreciate
too,
it.
man. I appreciate it too. Thanks, Scott.
All right, thank you. Thank you,
Bye bye.
Scott.